Okay, I was just gonna read a bunch of stuff this morning and use the voice generator. And yeah, so I like these books called Choose Your Own Adventure. It's kind of like playing a game. So I thought we'd do a playthrough of a Choose Your Own Adventure book. But before I did, I thought it'd be cool to learn a little bit about the author. We won't be doing Choose Your Adventure, but we will be doing like Tales of Tenopia or something like that. We're going to start with the Escape from Tenopia Island book. But right, let's learn a little bit about Ed Packard. I really enjoyed this guy's books growing up. It's kind of fun having the chance to take choices while you're reading a book.
Edward Packard, born February 16, 1931, is an American author. In addition to his work as a lawyer, essayist, and poet, he was born in Huntington, New York. He is a graduate of Princeton University and Columbia Law School. Packard came up with the original idea of writing second-person fiction, in which the reader makes choices that affects how the story unfolds. While thinking of bedtime stories for his children, who each clamor for a different ending to his stories, he published the first 3 books in this genre, originally called The Adventures of You, after which Bantam Books offered him and his first publisher a contract for a series rewritten and made famous as the Choose Your Own Adventure series of children's books. 1. Packard wrote the first known book of this type, Sugar Cane Island, in 1969, and arranged for it to be published in 1976 by Vermont Crossroads Press, owned by Constance Capel and Raymond A. Montgomery, Jr. Packard explains in the foreword to the book that he developed what he originally called the Adventures of You fiction format while trying to think up interesting bedtime stories for his 3 children, Andrea, Caroline and Wells. In Sugarcane Island, the shipwrecked reader travels around the titular island avoiding dangers at every turn. Many of the possible endings feature an unfortunate demise.
Although escape from the island is possible if the correct choices are made.
Change up the voice a little. Correct choices. Yeah. So it's like playing a game. A little bit like a chess set in a way. Except I find these books, they kind of send you back to the beginning a lot of the times. So that's what's making them fun. It's a bit like a puzzle, trying to find the right path through.
The Adventures of You on Sugarcane Island was the exact prototype for books in Bantam's classic Choose Your Own Adventure series. In 1969 and 1970, the William Morris Agency submitted the book on Packard's behalf to several major publishers, all of whom rejected it. In 1976, Packard was able to get the book published by Vermont Crossroads Press. In its review of the book, Publishers Weekly called it an original idea, well carried out. In 1977-1978, Lippincott published Packard's next 2 books in the same format, Deadwood City and The Third Planet from Altair. Their covers alerted readers to their unusual nature with the rubrics Choose Your Own Adventure in the Wild West and Choose Your Own Adventure in Outer Space, seeing potential in Packard's idea of an interactive book. Bantam Books launched a series called Choose Your Own Adventure in 1979. This contact with Bantam Books was made by Constance Capel on a flight to the Atlanta ABA conference with the then head of marketing, Jack Romano. Vermont Crossroads Press had first sold the rights to the series to Pocket Books and then had them transferred to Bantam. Packard read the first book in the Bantam series, The Cave of Time, a time-traveling story in which the reader explores a cavern that is a portal to different eras. Along with R.A. Montgomery, his original publisher at Vermont Crossroads Press, Packard wrote many more books in the series, contributing well over 60 titles by 1998, when the series ended. 3. Packard kept the series fresh by changing genres with each title. In addition to the time travel story of the first book, he followed up with the next half-dozen stories based on suspense, spy fiction, space opera, western, mystery, science fiction, and fantasy. Packard himself even appears in a case of self-insertion in the choose-your-own-adventure book Hyperspace. Packard was the only author to have a consistently recurring character who appeared in many of his CYOA books. A scientist named Dr. Nera Vivaldi frequently appeared as a friend to the reader character. She seemed to be ageless as she appeared in stories set in many time frames, including those that took the reader into outer space, although in later books she does appear to have aged at least into her 50s. In the aforementioned Hyperspace Drive, Vivaldi makes an appearance that actually breaches the fourth wall, acknowledging that she is a fictional character that the reader recognized from other CYOA books. In 2012, Simon & Schuster began releasing revised and expanded print versions of Through the Black Hole, Return to the Cave of Time, and The Forbidden Castle under the U Ventures trademark. Packard also conceived of the idea and read the prototype books for 3 more interactive series, Space Hawks and Escape, both published by Bantam Books, and Earth Inspectors, published by McGraw-Hill. He also wrote a non-fiction book about the size and scale of space and time, titled Imagining the Universe, and published by Berkeley in 1994, which was cited by Scientific American as one of the best science books for young readers of the year and by National Public Radio as one of the best science books of the year. His educational math book, Big Numbers, published by Millbrook in 2000, was cited by Newsweek as one of the best children's books of the year. Citation needed. The 6 books in the Space Hawks series, dealing with Earth's defense against space aliens, were published in mainland China in 2004 in anticipation of China's first manned space mission.
Okay, so here we have the books. Tenopia Island, Escape from Tenopia, Book 1. Which makes you curious to go look at Book 2 and Book 3 and see who the author is on those books. Yeah. I'm gonna put the mic down for a sec. See, it says, let's check my audio again. Yeah, see, it says, from Edward Packard, creator of Choose Your Adventure, so the book should be, second book should be from there as well. Anyways, I thought we were gonna, it would be nice to go ahead and dive into this book. Book applications. Oh, this is something right here. Maybe he's making the apps already. I don't know why I didn't just read it.
In 2010, Packard started a new company called U Ventures, which began releasing choose-your-own-adventure style applications for iPhone and iPad based on some of Packard's books. The first title, Return to the Cave of Time, was released in August, with more titles planned shortly after.
The first title is Return to the Cave of Time. Oh my goodness. Let's check that out. I mean, in a way, this guy's been doing video games. Or games, thematically story-based games, for 50 years almost, or 45 years. It's a hell of a lot of experience. But damn, there's Return to the Cave of Time, the book. Look at that cover art. Oh, the 70s had really good cover art. Um, I mean, and plus we have The Wrinkle in Time being out, being made into a movie, so it's just kind of cool to go through some of these old books. Because books being made into movies or video games or whatever is a real big deal. Look, oh, it looks like the action chart. Yeah. So you can cheat. You can follow this chart and get to the end faster. See all the different ways you can go wrong. And sometimes it's not very nice when you go the wrong way. Like it's like illogical when you go the wrong way. So it's kind of hard to really, you can see how big the branches. It looks like the focal point of this branching tree is this little block right here. Looks like you can get to the end now. Like once you go this way, or once you go to the left side of this tree, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wrong directions. And then that's a good, I guess the green is the good way out. Maybe it's just a good ending. And maybe these are sad endings, right? Your deaths and then successes. Succeed, death, succeed. And then, I don't know what purple could mean. Probably send you back to the front. Purple is to probably start back at square one. Right? So, alright. So let's dive into the book. Not this book, although I will save this. Oh, I've already got it. Never mind. I haven't got the third book yet. I need to find the third book, or I need to upload the third book. Not this book, but this book. There we are. Now, I think we should open this in the web browser, because I can full screen it and it'll look clear. Although clicking around in the text is really annoying on the web browser. There you go. And you hit F11. Booyah. Full screen. That's what I was hoping for. Alright. So when this book was published, there were only 2 books in the series. Tenopia Island by Edward Packard. Bantam Books, and they have a little rooster. Alright, notice. You are about to find yourself trapped.
You are about to find yourself trapped on a strange and dangerous island on one of the most forbidding planets in the galaxy. Tenopia, Lieutenant. It's important that you follow the directions in this book if you hope to escape. Exclamation mark. During your travels on Tenopia LS land, you'll have a small computer that can project a map of the region you're in at any moment. To use this, flip to the map page indicated near the bottom of the page you're reading. When you turn to a map page, be sure to keep a finger on the page you're reading so you won't lose your place. Whether or not you escape from Tenopia Island will depend on how skillful you are, how persistent you are, and how lucky you are. Will you succeed or will you be trapped forever, Lieutenant? It's entirely up to you.
Before I go any further, I think I should maybe make some changes to my live dashboard. We're not playing StarCraft 2. No. Shoo. Yeah. All right, let's yeah, there you go. Public. And then hopefully that'll change that. One second, I'm gonna let my dog out. All right. So let's just start at page 1. This is a sci-fi based game. So here you go. A lot of times on this reading app that I'm using, because the text recognizer in Adobe isn't perfect, a lot of the times you hear it'll think it's an LTS, like, and then they will say lieutenant or lieutenant or whatever, right? Instead of it's, because it's misreading the I for an L. And then, sometimes the text in the Adobe didn't even get recognized, and I'll have to read those parts. Not that hard, though. But let's go away on our journey into...
While you are traveling on a diplomatic mission from Earth to the Mylian cluster, your spaceship is hit by a meteor. With seconds low spare, you jettison in an escape pod, the only survivor. The pod's Boolean computer indicates there is only enough fuel to reach Tenopia, the 5th planet of star system Tenopia. The computer's memory bank supplies you with IHE following information. Tenopia SEARLH size. Rotation 26 hours. Sun rises in the east. Sets in WESL. Revolution 587 days. Air quality excellent. Food and whaler abundant. Surface 80% ocean with one large island. Tenopia LS land and a single continent. Carbon. Ocean is subject to violent storms. Galactic language widely spoken. Technology generally medieval. Travel dangerous and not advised. Bracing yourself for entry into Tenopia's atmosphere, you examine your only survival equipment, a pocket-sized computer. It is programmed to project a map of your region at all times on a small video screen. Suddenly, on the pod's computer, you read, entry phase, landing targeted near Krelia, west coast of Tenopia LS land. A moment later the words, Tenopia LS land, appear, and this aerial virus is displayed.
Alright, so we should take some notes here. That, this Earth, or this planet that we're crashing on, it's smaller than Earth. Its days are a little bit longer. I think it's really important that we notice that the sun rises in the east, sets in the west, just like it does here on Earth. So that's how we can keep direction, right? Supposing that, the solution isn't completely insane. We got just a single continent, Cabron, and one large island, and we're gonna land on the island. And I imagine we're gonna end up on the continent of it eventually in another book. Violent storms. Galactic language is widely spoken, and technology is generally medieval. Travel dangerous and not advised. So we're gonna be going to like medieval ages with some alien race. Some alien races. I need a notes page for all this stuff. So I'm going to open up a little notes page over here. And here it is. Now I had some notes here from earlier, and I will probably go over those when they come up again. But here we go. We have our notes from the intro. And there's some typos in it. But that's alright. You know, it doesn't really have to be perfect. And that one's done. Alright, go to the next page. Oh, here's our island. It's kind of square shaped, really. I went ahead and made a master map for this. Let's see if I can pull that up real quick. Tenopia Island master map. Neato. I should probably upload these and leave links in the bottom. And I probably will later. But here we have a nice master map. And then I guess as we explore we can refer back to this thing and see where which direction we should go, which road we should take, that sort of thing. A lot of it's left for the imagination in this book still, so you know, kind of makes it fun to think about. Maybe they have some nice illustrations here. You gotta love these illustrations, and they're really simple illustrations. It would be nice to maybe go back and draw something of my own sometime, just for fun, and color it, you know, or maybe just grab one of these images and then color it. But let's go ahead and grab another page of this and keep reading along in this book. Yep. Let's open up a voice general. Oops. There we go.
Your tiny craft sets down with a sharp jolt. You lie dazed or a few minutes before you can pull yourself together. By the time you crawl through the hatch, your pod is already surrounded by giant half-human creatures with huge forked hands. They blindfold you and lead you along a winding bumpy surface. Then down a long ladder tie leads deep underground. At last they remove your blindfold. You are in a huge dimly lit cavern that reeks of sulphurous fumes. Creatures search you. You hold your breath when they find your computer, but they toss it aside as a useless ornament. And you're able to retrieve it a few moments later. You quickly learn that your captors are Krogosides and THDRU have been condemned to slavery in their Krelium mine, closely watched by Krogoside guards wielding long spiked sticks. You are forced to chip and shovel Krelium ore for 7 hours before you're allowed to rest for the night. Most of the slaves speak the galactic language, and during the days that follow you make friends with Preface, an old hominid from a nearby planet. He looks almost as human as yourself. When you ask whether there is any hope of escape from the mine, Preface merely shakes his head. But that night, while here are no Krogosides nearby, he comes to you and whispers, "There is a secret tunnel that leads below the surface. Tomorrow I will show you the slab that hides the entrance." How do I get to the nearest galactic patrol station? You whisper back. A few minutes later, 3 Kroger-side seize you. Blindfolded, hands tied behind your back. You're transported by cart and by boat and again by cart to the Crelium mine. There you are say to IHE same grueling work chipping and shoveling. This time you're watched more closely than ever by the Kroger-side guards. Several days pass before you have a chance to pull back the slab covering the secret tunnel. Your heart is in your mouth because you're afraid you'll find the passageway sealed off. But it's still open. Exclamation mark. Soon you're standing once again on the surface of Tenopia. You're only at the beginning of your journey. But at least you know a lot more than before. Fu. You walk along the road. The orange sunlight streaming through yellow leaf trees produces a misty light like nothing you've ever seen. After several hours of travel, you hear weird, rhythmic music ahead, a chorus of voices running up and down the scale, changing from dissonance to harmony. You are drawn to the sound, but before you can reach its source, two bird people with dark red wings spring from behind a tree. The music stops, and in a moment a dozen more bird people gather around you. They seem friendly, and you waste no time in telling them of your quest for Zindor. The leader, Kumbert, listens attentively. You wish for go to Zindor. I can only tell you this, if you ever reach the village of LSSUS on the shore of Lake Chandra, you'll see a signpost with eerie signs. Follow the sign that is most different from the other two. Fu, you thank Kumba for this information. A lookout runs toward you. The Krogosides are coming from the Soul. Exclamation mark quote. They may be looking for you, Kumba says. You must leave at once. I know UWANL to go EASL. But that way leads to the Siaming Wastes. If you go south, you'll run straight into the Krogosides. I think it's better to go west toward Casita. After hiking most of the day, you come over. After hiking most of the day, you come over a rise. Ahead, you see a desert pocketed with pools of bubbling water. Steam and mists rise above it like ghostly corkscrews. The air stinks of sulfur. Soon you're gasping for breath. You wend your way through the steaming wastes, but the fumes and heat are too much for you. Reluctantly, you turn back. You must go around this wasteland, either to the north or to the south. The moment you see the attractive stone houses of Casita and the markets filled with a great variety of fruits and vegetables, your spirits rise. The people seem friendly, but they will not speak. You wonder if they are bound by a vow of silence. You can tell by signs over doorways that they know how to read and write, but the print seems almost impossible to read. You wander down narrow, twisting alleys trying to find your way to the docks. A birdman wearing a grey hooded robe embroidered with little mirrors catches your eye. Hoping he might be willing to talk, you ask if he knows how you can get to Zindor. He says nothing but takes out a slate and writes on it. You can't quite read the words he's written, but the letters look strangely familiar. Looking at your map, you decide to avoid the road to the steaming wastes. There are 2 other roads leading out of town. One leading south and one leading southeast. Looking at your map, you decide to avoid the road to the steaming wastes. There are 2 other roads leading out of town. One leading south and one leading southeast.